Hello, and welcome to this month's Connect with Contour Server session webinar. Today, we'll be discussing installing the Contour Server 9 using the high availability option. My name is David Pavoncello, and a technical support analyst at BNC Software. I support Contour products for distributed systems in EMEA region. Today, we'll explain how it's easy to implement a secondary Contour server machine for the high availability. But what is high availability? Contour high availability will enable you to maximize your production environment uptime and prevent data loss in case of hardware maintenance or failure. Did you already install the Contour Server 9 with the Oracle database? If you already installed the Contour Server 9 with Oracle, you can try the high availability option. It's very easy to install it and useful in case of emergency. But let's see the agenda together. Here's the agenda. Today, we'll explain the architecture of high availability of Contour Server 9, the difference between high availability with Oracle or MS SQL and Postgres database, a quick review about the installation option, example of failover and fallback, manual and automatic failover test, logs collection and debug, and at the end, question and answer. In this screen, we can see how the high availability works with Oracle database. The primary Contour server is the active machine and existing server, while the secondary Contour server is the new data center just installed and not active. How does this work? In the primary machine, we have the configuration agent process that communicates with the secondary configuration agents and sends the live check to it, while this sends an answer to confirm. Both CAs update the database every 15 seconds, writing the timestamp in Oracle database. We'd like to remind that also the primary server sends the timestamp to the database. In case of MS SQL, we have exactly the same architecture. In this screen, we can see how the high availability works with the Postgres. As you can note, we have a double installation of Contour server with its own Postgres database installed on the same server machine and a shared folder where the database stores the replicated data. The primary configuration agent sends the live check to the secondary CA, and this sends an answer to the primary CA, exactly like in case of Oracle. Both configuration agents write the timestamp in Postgres database. Postgres and MS SQL option will be discussed in one of the next webinars of Connect with Control-M. In order to have the high availability feature during the installation of the secondary server, you have to choose the additional installation to have the option. But let's see the entire process live together. One runs the setup. You have the same option I showed before in the slide. Obviously, we need to accept the agreement. And this is the screen where you can choose the additional installation in order to have the high availability option. You need only to check the option, press Next, choose your primary installation type, in our case is Contour server, choose your primary database server type, in our case Oracle, here you have to be sure to insert exactly this database server host, the primary database server port used for the primary installation, the service name, and obviously the Contour server database owner username and password choose for the primary installation. But back to the I would like to back to the presentation, and we can check together this slide. Okay, so when you finish to fill all the field with the primary database server, the ports, the database owner username and password, you are ready for the installation. This is a critical screen when you have to, because you have to remind that the CA configuration agent of the primary and of the secondary server machine are using exactly the same port. In case of a port not available in the secondary machine, port busy or whatever, the installation will fail. You must be sure that the configuration port is free and available in the secondary server. At this point, you are ready to install the secondary server. When finished the installation, you have the failover to the secondary button in your configuration manager available, and other options like, for example, fallback to the primary, set as a primary, and other options will check together in the configuration manager. As you can see, I have here my primary and secondary machine, and other information regarding where is running my primary machine and where is my secondary host. In the right panel, you have a summary about your session, like where is the primary host, where is if the failover mode is automatic or manual, where is running my primary, last failover fallback, and details about your database. In case of message failure or other message from the CA, I have here the message from my primary or secondary server. You have also other options not available currently because they belong to the Postgres database installation, like start database replication and switch to sync replication. With the high availability, we also added new parameters in Configuration Manager where the administrator can change the numbers of the light check, timeout from and to database, and other information. Let's check the properties together. As you can see, the administrator can change every component he would like to do. There are many options to change the live check, the startup tries, the timeout, and so on. Another opportunity they have is to switch the content server failover from automatic to manual. This option is available in the properties of your main or the primary content server machine. The failover can be automatic or manual. Other parameters we added in high availability, you can find that in config.dat file. When we put the content server name, its account, or the primary and the secondary, and other information for the secondary machine, like account and hostname machine. And a new completely file called local_config.dat. This file can tell you if the high availability has been activated in your content server or not. Okay, so I spoke about the difference between, I mentioned that we have two types of failover, can be automatic and manual failover. In the configuration manager, you can choose between automatic and manual. I would like to mention that the manual failover is always available for our administrator, even if he chose the automatic mode. In any case, anytime he can make the failover. Let's make a simple test now. In this moment, the CA is sending the control to the secondary machine, and the failover is in process. As you can see in the right panel, and in the window you have in front of you. So the first process is to verify the failover requirements. Obviously, if the secondary machine doesn't have the configuration agent up and running, this cannot start. After that, we have to shut down the control server primary. At the end, the secondary host will take the control and this will start the control server on the secondary machine. Okay, so now when finished, you have the option to fall back to the primary, or another option is to put the secondary machine, in this case, when it's running my control server, you can set as primary. For any reason, if the administrator needs the primary machine to disconnect to be a secondary machine, he can put the secondary control server machine as primary. Just clicking on this option. Let's make another test with the fallback to the primary. Obviously, the CCM update from the failover or from fallback depends by your network net data. If you have a very strong network, the process is very easy, intuitive, and useful, as you can see from this test. Another thing I would like to underline is the status in the right panel about the error. Error and warning we have seen before is not a really error. It's just telling to the administrator that something is happening now in your control server machine. For example, you are not using anymore your primary machine, but you are using the failover, and your secondary machine is the active machine. It's just a warning. In our case, the error is telling that now your primary is not running because it's running in the secondary machine, and you can go back to the primary. Okay, we finish now the fallback. We can close the window, and we have to wait for the refresh in your configuration manager. How can I know that now my machine is okay? I can type show CTM in my primary machine. I can see that all the processes are up and running. The same is for the CA. Everything is up and running. Let's check also the secondary machine. No process from my control server. Configuration is running and using exactly the same port. So I can be sure the fallback ended okay and my primary machine is still working. As you can see, my primary machine back to my Pullman machine. I also mentioned the automatic failover. What is the automatic failover? This is mainly the option used by our customers. It means that only if 3 specific conditions are satisfied, the automatic failover can start. If the primary configuration manager agent is down, it means that no timestamp is added in the database. If the primary controller server is down, it means that there is no new timestamp in database, and controller server desired status is up, we can have the automatic failover. Again, we can try a very simple test. I'm going to kill my primary machine, and let's see what we have in the secondary machine. So the first command, I will shut down the CA, configuration agent. I will kill control server process. This is something that I don't recommend in your production machine. If you want to test it, please do it in your test environment. But it's the very strong tool we added now in the high availability. Okay, let's check if everything is down. No configuration agent. No control server process is running. As you can see, I have now a message regarding the status of my configuration agent. Is not available. In this moment, the CA of the secondary machine is trying to communicate with the primary CA and is not getting any response. No live check and no timestamp in database. After that, after 3, 4, 5 tries, it will try to see if the control server is down or not. It means that probably administrator decide to shut down the configuration agent, but the control server is still up and running. So there is no reason to start the automatic failover. It's checking the database if the content server is up and running, but there is no new timestamp in database. It will check if the primary server desired status is up or not, and only in this moment it decides to start the automatic failover. I told you that we can have some delay in the CCM, but let's see if the primary and secondary, database server is up or not. The configuration agent is running, and the control server just started now. So we have all the processes now running in my secondary machine. All the process took no more than 1 minute, maybe 2, but not more. Okay, I have now the message that my primary machine now is a secondary machine. As you can see, the secondary machine now is running the my control server, and everything is okay. This is a warning I just talked before. It's not an error message. It's just tell me that my machine, the secondary machine, is now working and not my primary. Again, you have the failover mode in the configuration manager. You can choose between manual or automatic. My recommendation is to use the automatic failover because the administrator can decide to activate the failover anytime, even if you choose the automatic mode. Now, I would like to share with you a new option available with the FixSpec 1 that will be released next month about the high availability. With the FixSpec 1, we added a new option to disable the high availability. Why do we need this? In case of hardware failure or maintenance of your primary or secondary machine, the administrator can decide to disconnect the second machine from the high availability and to use only the primary machine. They can use the ctmha command with the action update to disable the high availability mode. When they restore the secondary machine, they can restore the entire high availability running the ctmh update high availability mode in automatic or manual or whatever they decide to do. Now a word about debug log and log collection. I would like to remind you that in case of failover failure, the CA collects every message, every information in debug mode 0. You don't need to activate any debug at this stage because the CA in debug mode 4 or 5 can replace the basic information we need to investigate about the failover or fallback failure. Only the support team or developer team from BNC will ask about the debug. You can activate the debug for the configuration agent only. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend. I hope the information provided was useful. You'll be receiving a survey as you close the webinar. We encourage you to fill it out and provide feedback on where we can improve and any future topics you'd like to see. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Our past webinars can be viewed on BNC Communities, YouTube, and iTunes.